All right, let's get right into it. We're about to unpack a story that honestly blurs the line between hard science and some pretty wild science fiction. It's a story about the biggest machine ever built, a 13-year-old kid who saw something nobody else did, and a really unsettling idea that our reality isn't the original one. And that's the big question for today, isn't it? It's a heavy one. We're diving into a theory that says the Large Hadron Collider at CERN didn't just discover a new particle. It might have accidentally obliterated our entire universe, and we were all shuffled over to the next best thing without ever even knowing it. And this quote right here is the heart of the whole thing. But what's really wild is that this claim didn't come from some tenured professor at a university. Nope. It came from Max Logan, a 13-year-old whose ideas just exploded online, getting talked about everywhere, even on the Joe Rogan Experience. So who was this kid who just sent these massive shockwaves across the internet? To really get the theory, you first have to get the person who came up with it. And let's just say his lab wasn't exactly what you'd expect. So, meet Max Lahan. He's this teenage whiz kid literally working out of his parents' boiler room in Nevada. He first got famous for this thing he built called the Energy Horizon Gatherer. He claimed it could pull free energy right out of the air, and he built it for less than $15. This wasn't your average science fair project. The way he talked about quantum physics was just on another level. It was impressive, but for some people, it was a little unnerving. He basically became the face of this huge question about the reality we all take for granted. Okay, so let's get into the nuts and bolts of his idea. How on earth could one experiment in Switzerland rewrite reality for every single person on the planet? Well, the mechanics of his theory are just as fascinating as they are, frankly, terrifying. First off, you gotta appreciate the sheer power we're dealing with here. When those particles smash together inside the LHC, they create temperatures that are over 100,000 times hotter than the very core of the sun. To most scientists, that's an incredible tool. But to Max, it was a recipe for disaster. And this is the magic number right here, 13.6 tera-electron volts. According to Max's theory, reaching that energy level wasn't just a new record. He believed it was powerful enough to literally tear the fabric of space-time itself, creating a fatal weakness in our universe. So what happens when you tear the universe? Well, his theory says it triggers something called a quantum slide. The idea is if a universe just breaks, consciousness doesn't just vanish. It's a form of energy, right? It has to go somewhere. So it supposedly gets grafted totally seamlessly onto the next closest parallel universe. It's kind of like a cosmic survival instinct. Let's break that down into 3 steps, just to make it clear. Step 1, the crazy energy at CERN causes a quantum instability. Maybe the Higgs field collapses in one tiny spot. Step 2, that tiny collapse makes our whole home universe totally unsustainable. And step 3, our collective consciousness does this dimensional graft, basically sliding over into a new reality without anyone feeling a thing. And this is the perfect analogy for it. Think about it. You're watching your favorite show, and someone in the other room switches the channel to another station that's showing the exact same episode. From your perspective on the couch, nothing's changed. The show just keeps on playing. But the source, the signal, is completely different. That's what the theory claims happened to all of us. Okay, so if we all got zapped into a new dimension, where's the evidence? This is where the theory gets really personal. It says the proof isn't out there in some telescope, it's right inside our own minds. The only leftover pieces of our lost home are our memories. And this is where the Mandela effect comes in. In this theory, it's not a bug in your brain, it's a feature. I mean, come on, how many of us swear we remember Darth Vader saying, "Luke, I am your father," or that the book series was spelled with an E-I, Berenstain Bears? But if you check today, in this reality, you're wrong. The theory says these aren't just faulty memories. They're echoes. They're leftover data from the world that got erased. So why would our memories be different? The theory has a name for that too. Quantum anchoring. The idea is that physical stuff, books, movie posters, the actual film reels, all that got updated to match the new universe's history. But our consciousness, our memories, they're more stubborn. They're anchored in a quantum state that can hold on to the original data even when the physical world changes around it. I just love this way of putting it. It reframes that silly argument you have with your friend about a movie line into something way deeper. You're not just arguing. You're basically an archaeologist, digging through your own mind for the ruins of a reality that doesn't exist anymore. So with a theory this huge, you'd think the person who came up with it would be everywhere, right? But what happened to Max Lofgren? Well, right when his ideas were catching fire, he just seemed to disappear, and his silence became a whole new part of the mystery. And this created two completely different stories. The myth is that he was this prophet who got too close to a dangerous truth and he was silenced. The reality, though, seems to be that he was a kid genius who grew up. He stepped away from being a viral sensation to become a serious academic, doing actual professional research in plasma physics at his own lab, Luan Labs. So while Max Login was moving on with his life, the machine at the very center of his theory, it hasn't slowed down one bit. In fact, its plans for the future have only gotten bigger and more ambitious. Let's take a look at what CERN is planning. Far from taking their foot off the gas, CERN is hitting the accelerator. In 2026, they're starting a huge upgrade called Long Shutdown 3. By about 2030, a brand new, way more powerful, high-luminosity LHC will be up and running. And they're already drawing up plans for its successor, a massive 91-kilometer collider that would absolutely dwarf the one they have now. And this chart just shows you the insane jump in power we're talking about. So far, the LHC has created about 55 million Higgs bosons, the God particle. The goal for the new machine? To create about 380 million of them. I mean, that's not a small step up. It's a colossal leap in their ability to mess with the fundamental fabric of our reality. Now, if you look at that through the lens of Longin's theory, it gives you this really fascinating, if totally speculative idea. What if this huge increase in Higgs particle production isn't just about discovery? What if it's a deliberate attempt to flood our current reality with them, to anchor us here, to make sure this new timeline is stable and we can't slip or slide anywhere else? And that really leaves us with this final kind of chilling thought. If there's even a shred of truth to any of this, then every time you have one of those Mandela effect moments, every time you swear you remember something that doesn't match the world around you, you might be holding the last surviving artifact of a universe that's already gone.